This is where I wait to see, okay, are we live?
Yep, waiting for it.
And we're usually live before I actually see it, of
Yeah,
course.
there it is.
Okay, here we go. All right, start the music. Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt here with Alex King on this Thursday, October the 24th, 2019. It is 4 p.m. New York time, 1 p.m. Los Angeles, 9 p.m. in London, 5 a.m. in Tokyo, and 6 a.m. in Sydney, Australia. Wherever you are in the world, thanks for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And I'm happy to announce that we're adding somebody to our team, Alex. I mean, we were three, and then we've been two, and now we're going to be three again. How about that? But Dan Mangina, who has been on the show a couple times as a guest, has committed and agreed to start doing the Tuesday show with you and me,
Cool,
starting
cool.
starting on election day. How appropriate to elect to do it on election day.
Ugh.
Well, you wanted a dad joke, so there's a dad joke. There we go.
No, I'm just ugh in election day period.
Oh well, yeah, there is that. I don't. I
Yeah.
don't think about election day in terms of actual elections. I just, it's like something on the calendar more than anything else. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's all it really is. But the good news is Dan's going to be coming on board. We're going to be having three of us again, and I think it's going to make the conversation pretty lively because between your humor, Dan's ability to just zero in on the root of an issue, and me sitting back tossing out questions, I think it's going to be pretty lively.
All right. Sounds like a plan, Sam.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And I see you have your hair on. You got your headphones on as usual. You're brighter today. You got the yellow shirt on. That always brightens it
I
up.
know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've never worn yellow in my life.
In your life, really?
In my life.
Wow. Well,
It's just not
congratulations.
one of my colors.
Welcome to the yellow world.
Oh, well, thank you for the invite.
I didn't know I had to give an invitation, but well, okay, that's fine. So we had a topic that kind of grew out of what we talked about on Tuesday, which was a good thing because Tuesday's show kind of fell apart. And so getting back onto a topic is a good idea, but it was a good topic. And
Yep.
I don't remember exactly how we came upon it. Maybe it's because we were so inconsistent on Tuesday. Maybe that's where it came from. But
Possibly,
you know,
possibly.
but the topic is consistency and how it interrelates with the law of attraction. And it is a topic that I think is probably at the root of virtually every I'm asking for help post on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Every it's probably the thought behind every book that's ever written about the law of attraction, every video ever made. I mean, it's at the root of it all. Because if you're not consistent, it doesn't matter. It's not going to help.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I guess one of my favorite ways to describe it is if you're not consistent, what you are doing is putting out a muddled vibration. It's not a clean one. It's not cleanly like, okay, this is that new thing I want to attract. It's, yes,
Right.
I want the new thing, but I feel like the old thing. But I'm also focused on this other thing over here, but I'm going back to the thing. Well, I'm doing my affirmations again. Oh, okay, it's not going to work. I mean, it's just like this ongoing, bouncing all over the walls that doesn't actually produce what we want. And then we do that long enough, we say, well, this stuff doesn't work.
Right.
That's pretty much the way the pattern goes, isn't it?
But it's not our fault that you're inconsistent.
That's true. Well, actually, there's no fault involved. Truly,
Mm,
inconsistency is just, well, it is. It's nothing that's blameworthy. It's just okay. You're being inconsistent, and the nice thing about it is you can change. You can say, you know what? I'm tired of being inconsistent. I'm going to start being consistent for a change.
and it's as simple as that.
It really is. Are we done with the topic? Holy cow!
No, not at all.
So, where do you find consistency to be the biggest challenge in your life, or lack thereof?
I don't find it a challenge at all. I feel like it can be a hindrance for me because I need things to be so consistent or I lose my stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A hindrance. Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, the chaos becomes too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I can't go off my rigid schedule.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you do things like break through barriers and go out to have lunch with somebody, that's pretty severe then.
Not if it's been calculated into the plans
Oh.
prior. That's fine because I have time to freak out about it before. But if we're on the road and I always take the same road home, and then God forbid there's a detour, I can't do it. Can't do it. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, officer. I'm taking left. I don't care if there's no road. That's not what's happening.
So consistency actually becomes something of a detriment for you.
A little bit, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now I have to admit I wasn't anticipating that of the topic,
Yeah.
but it's an interesting point. And
Mm-hmm.
well, all right, I'm going to come at it from a different perspective.
Okay.
If what you're saying is true,
Mm-hmm.
if what you're saying is that if you lose your consistency, that causes you to in some way fall off the vibrational bandwagon. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
else to say
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have to ask you, isn't that in and of itself inconsistent?
Explain again.
Well, you're focused on the idea that you want to be consistent all the time. And then you get all upset if you ever become inconsistent, for
Mm-hmm.
even a split second, to the point where you freak out about it. So you throw all this energy into being inconsistent.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
So are you really all that consistent?
I'm consistently angry about it being inconsistent. Yep.
Yeah, well, okay. And that's a choice. It's a choice that you make. And,
Yep.
you know, it's perfectly legitimate. You can make whatever choice you want. And you perfectly well understand the consequences. Sounds rough, but it really is the consequences of that. There are
Mm-hmm.
ramifications. I guess that's a better
Yep.
term. There are
Yep.
ramifications that come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the very strong impression those ramifications are acceptable to you.
No, they're not.
No?
No, I don't like having panic attacks.
So you could actually change that. It's just that for various reasons you're not willing to.
I mean, if you want to put it the way that you're putting it, it can be done, I guess.
We'll put it the way you want to put it then.
It's not that easy. No. Like when you have something, an outside force, and that situation affects how you view things, it's hard to just say, all right, well, I'm just going to change the way I think. But if your brain's wired that way, it takes a little longer and it's a lot harder.
And you're a slave to that, of course. You can never change the way you're thinking.
Yeah, I guess I am. Yep. I'm just going to say it. Yep.
I never expected you would cop to that. That's really funny. It's not because you've also kind of put yourself in a tough spot, but it's kind of funny. I mean, you're willing to just say, okay, I'm powerless. And that's something I never expected.
It's true, though. It's true. I can't handle when the rug is pulled from underneath me. Most people can just bounce right back. But you know what? It's also in certain situations when it has to do with my schedule, that's fine. But like we've talked about before, if a guy decides to ghost me, I'm totally cool with it. I'm like, all right, moving on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the situation.
What do you think is the difference? What makes it different?
I think it's because my schedule is how it's been for my entire, I can't say life because it does change, not drastically, but changes depending on the day, also depending on the situation, but it's basically the same, been the same my entire life. So.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I think what you're demonstrating is the power of a belief.
Mm-hmm.
Because a belief is a thought that you think over and over again, as Abraham Hicks has taught us. And you've clearly been thinking that one for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So it has become, for you, it has become concrete.
Yep.
I mean, it's just solidly there to the point where you've convinced yourself it can't even change.
Yep.
Of course, we know that you could change it if you wanted to.
I mean, logically, it all makes sense. But
well, first of all, you'd have to want to.
See, that's not how I feel, though. I don't feel like I have to want to. I feel like, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, that it's just something that is, and I don't know.
So if you had an alternative way of living, so to speak, you would not prefer to want to change it. You would prefer to just leave it the way it is.
Well, then now we're getting into comfort zones.
Oh, we've been in. I don't think we've left the comfort zone.
Nope, we haven't. But yes, at the end of the day, yes, I prefer to be in my comfort zone due to
Yeah.
the alternative. The alternative is panic attacks and
And that's
drama.
essentially that's a belief that you've built up. You've built up the idea it has to be that if I don't stay in this one fixed pattern that I have established, that I will have a panic attack, and so therefore you do, and it's a very strong pattern that you built up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's also important to recognize though you built that pattern up. That means you can build up a different pattern. So if you're
I've
that
tried. I've
well,
tried.
well, you can continue to try.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, the, it, I really do believe that on some level you don't want to change it.
Well, I wasn't always like this way, so I can't say
Sure.
that I won't always be this way. So I fully
Well, yeah,
believe
of course.
that I don't want to change it.
Because you can change your belief anytime you want to. So clearly, you changed your belief at one point earlier on. So yeah,
I guess.
yeah, you did, you did. So sure, I know that you're not locked into it.
Hmm.
I get the feeling maybe like you're trying to talk yourself into the idea that you're not locked into it, but I know you're not.
Yeah, it's more the latter.
Yeah, yeah. So, and that's what I mean by you called it a comfort zone. I call it a choice. It really amounts to the same thing. You're
Hmm.
choosing it. You're choosing to stay there, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can stay there as long as you want to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. The only thing I'm really pointing out is that's your choice. You can change that choice
Oh,
anytime you want to,
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
and that's it. That's
Hmm.
really so that's where consistency I think really becomes a valuable topic because now we're recognizing that in this particular case you're choosing a consistency
Hmm.
that you feel on some level meets a need of yours. It may not be
Yep.
something that somebody from the outside looking in will say, well, that doesn't sound particularly healthy to me. Well, it doesn't matter whether it sounds healthy to them.
That's not your kid, not your problem.
It feels good. It's what feels best to you. You the one who's decided this is the choice that feels best to me. So I'm
Right.
going to stay with it.
Hmm.
And that's what consistency does.
Exactly.
Now, in this case, we're kind of talking about something that I think on the one hand you'd like to get rid of at some point, but so more often than not, we're talking about trying to attract stuff that we really, really want to have. Like, oh yeah, let's get excited about it. This is not one that
Mhm.
you get excited about. I don't think.
I do, and then I don't.
What do you mean?
And it's in an instant. Like somebody could tell me right now, I have free passes and free flights to Harry Potter World.
Mm.
Are you coming? Yeah, but
Yeah.
I need to prepare. I need
Mm.
things. I need certain things to amount to certain things. I need my noise canceling headphones. I need all the things that accommodate me being able to do this. And I need to be back home in 4 days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is that exciting?
I'm sure once I get there, I'll be excited, but
No,
the
no, no, no.
whole,
I mean, is that process exciting?
no, no.
So that
Training.
proves my point. I think you're not. It's not something you're really excited about. It's just you've got it. It's just there. You've just been living with it for all this time.
Yeah,
You've been
yeah.
just choosing it and saying, "Yeah, I keep choosing it. Yeah, I keep choosing it. Yeah, I keep choosing it." That's pretty much it.
It's I mean, it's more like a really bad not experiment, really bad experiment with where I came up with this hypothesis due to not even a hypothesis. These are the results of the experiment. Okay, let's dip our toe in the water and oh, a shark bit it. That's what happens.
I'm. This is one of those rare times where I actually don't think I know what you said.
I said the experiment was what will happen if I go into the water.
Okay.
Okay, so hypothesis is I'll get eaten by a shark. I dip my toe in the water, the shark bit me.
I call that law of attraction, but okay.
Over and over and well, I call it a hypothesis and an experiment, and then these are the results, and it
Well,
happens.
yeah.
But if
I
you
mean,
get the same result over and over and over, expecting a different result from the same thing is insanity.
well, that is true. Yes, you could
Mhm.
always try expecting a different result before you even dip your toe in the water.
I always expect a different result when I dip my toe in the water.
And you could actually believe you're going to have a different result.
Okay, see, that's the hard part.
Only because you say it is.
Listen, Walt. I'm gonna
I'm
drag
sorry.
somebody else in. Anybody else here?
Sorry, I'm pushing buttons a little bit hard there.
No, it's okay.
So anyway, Jeffrey's been posting up a storm.
He has
First,
been.
first of all, he says no trolls, no trolls. Although hopefully they boosted our stats. Well, thank you, appreciate that, Jeffrey.
I'm sure they did because they were like, "Ooh, look what I read! Look what I wrote on LOA today. Go read it."
And Jenny's saying, thinking of a session free of trolls.
I enjoy the trolls, so it doesn't matter to me.
It was lively. I mean, it was
It was
definitely lively. Yeah,
Yes.
no doubt about that. Jeffrey also says inconsistency is part of contrast, and that's absolutely true. Because contrast helps us expand, and sometimes consistency can get boring. No way that is not true. I mean, it's yeah. We live here in this world to experience contrast. Doesn't mean we have to dive off the deep end and drown in it, but yeah.
Or get eaten by sharks.
Or get eaten by sharks. Yeah. We don't have to even visualize sharks. It's up to us. We get to decide what we're going to focus on. We can focus on sharks or we can focus on minnows. It doesn't matter.
I prefer dolphins.
Dolphins are nice. Dolphins are nice. Dolphins and unicorns, I know they kind of go together in a sense.
Facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
they do. And regarding... Jeffrey made a comment I'm not quite sure of. He says, whoa, meta Walt. Okay, yeah, cool. I don't know what that means, but fine.
I think you said that when you were talking about the consistency of being inconsistent.
Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah, well, all right, I can see that.
Yeah.
And then Jenny says, I'm trying to use affirming language. How about this? I like when I consistently take good care of myself or am on time or go to the gym or whatever change I'm trying to make.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, sure. That's good.
Good job, Jenny.
And Jeffrey adds on, we create our own reality, so we have to want to change. We have to do something inconsistent with our comfort zone. Oh, yeah. Well, there's the rub about creating in this physical reality. You have, if you want to create something, it can't be within what you're doing right now. I mean, it has to be something a little bit different. Otherwise, it's not a creation. It's just a repetition of the same thing in a sense. I mean, yes, we recreate the same thing over and over and over again, but after a while, at what point do you say it's no longer a new creation? At some point you say, well, it's just the same creation over and over again.
There's always a little, even if it's the tiniest minute variable, there's something's always different about it.
So slight variance.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that qualifies. And it produces a very small change in vibration, so sure. That's going to provide some expansion. It's extremely consistent.
Way to stay consistent, Walt.
I mean, well, it's raising an interesting point, one that I hadn't considered before we started doing the podcast. But consistency it's a question of where you're choosing to be consistent. For me, the whole consistency thing is best used when I'm trying to attract something new, create something new, change the thought process. To me, that's where consistency really becomes exciting. But what this example talking with you has pointed out to me is we're really very consistent beings. I mean, truly, most of the time we act consistently. It's just that we act consistently about the stuff we really don't want.
True.
Or that we would not necessarily don't want, but perhaps want to modify in some way, like you were saying. Introduce that variable of variance, so to speak. So if we're trying to manifest money, or we're trying to manifest that special relationship, or we're trying to manifest better health, or some major shift in our life, to me, that's where the consistency thing becomes really interesting.
Right.
And I say that because I think about the article I read like within the last 5-6 months, something like that, in which the author pointed out that yes, we have some, 50,000-60,000 thoughts a day or something like that, but 95% of them are the same ones as what we had yesterday.
I vouch for that.
And that's true. It's true of all of us. I mean, most of what we do throughout our day, we call it habit, but these habits that we follow every day, we do them the same way every single day. And they have the same thoughts associated with them. So when you get up out of bed and you go in and brush your teeth, you don't really do that differently each time. You just do, it's the same thing that you do every single day. And there's a certain thought process that goes with it. It's pretty much automatic at this point.
But then it's like variables. Sometimes you change your toothpaste. Sometimes you have to recharge your toothbrush. Sometimes you have a whole new toothbrush.
Which you can do, and that
Mm-hmm.
starts to make life more interesting when you do that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's true. That's true. But it illustrates just how consistent we already are. Is what
Mm-hmm.
my point is,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows that we are capable of being consistent about the things that we are trying to change to,
Mm.
because we already have experience with being consistent.
Right.
I think where people are having trouble, including myself many times in the past, and perhaps even in the present in some ways, is when we're trying to be consistent about something that for us is right now a big inconsistency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Something that is new and unfamiliar and undeveloped and a little scary, and I don't know if I can do it, and I tried it and it doesn't work, and
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of thing. That is the kind of consistency that I think is the more interesting topic.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, "Is it exciting?"
Yeah.
And if it's not, then how do you get yourself into that mind frame where you feel like changing it?
That's where I think the Abraham Hicks teaching really helps a lot, because their message, boiled down really simply, is focus on what you like and prefer. Focus your attention, give your mind, your thought, your feelings to what do you like, what do you prefer. And the more that you do that, the more your life is going to be the way you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really what it comes down to. It's just that simple. Um, and I say simple but not easy.
Right. Right.
Not always easy to do. Um, but I am finding, and I think all my co-hosts have reported that they find that the more that we are able, and the more that we get ourselves to spend time and intention and focus on stuff that we like and prefer, the better our lives get.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, it's about being excited, and that's how you build the excitement, by literally just spending more time on it. You know, if it feels good, keep doing it. If you're enjoying it, keep focusing on it.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
What don't you like?
I'm just thinking about trying to be more consistent about my inconsistencies.
I wouldn't even try to do that if I were you.
Mm-hmm. What would you do?
I would be trying more. I mean, yes, I know that's what I said.
Yeah.
But what I would do is take it from the way Abraham Hicks says it. Instead of trying to be more consistent about my inconsistencies, I'd be trying to focus more on what new good feeling I want to develop more often.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot less convoluted,
Yeah.
and it's a lot easier to apply. Not that you can't do it the other way. You can. It's harder work, and
Mm-hmm.
I believe in less work. If I can do less work, that's a victory. It's a good day.
Yeah. How many times a day do we say work smarter, not harder, man?
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, the way to work smarter is to keep focusing on what you feel, on how you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Something lately I've been recommending it in some of the comments I made on Facebook, and I've
Mm-hmm.
also been recommending it to myself and really trying to take it seriously. Is, let's say I'm trying to change a mindset about something. I'm trying
Okay.
to focus
Mm-hmm.
on this new thing that I've been trying to attract into my life. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm having trouble staying on it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very common experience. A lot of people have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I've been recommending and what I've been trying to do is to literally stop and congratulate myself each time that I notice myself doing the thing I don't want to be doing.
Mm. Okay.
So if I'm a worrier, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
I really do want to believe that that new woman is going to come into my life, but I worry that she's not going to. And when she does come up, when she arrives, it's going to be the wrong person, and we're not going to get along. I keep worrying about
Whoa, whoa, whoa! You went too
yeah.
far. Just stop at the first part.
But well, that's the point, yeah.
Yeah.
But we tend to get into that second one. Well, the
Yes.
moment that I notice that I'm in that worry mode, I'm supposed to congratulate myself. That's my new thing. Congratulations, you noticed that you're there.
Okay.
Well done. You noticed it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you've noticed it, pivot.
Pivot.
Pivot over to what you want to be focusing on instead.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 seconds from now, when you slip back over into that worry mode or whatever it is that you're not wanting to focus on, but focusing anyway,
Mm-hmm.
congratulate yourself again.
Mm-hmm.
You noticed it again. And then you bring it back over to what it is you want to focus on. Then you stay there for 3.5 seconds, and then you have to go through the process again. But the point is,
Wow, that's exhausting. I'm gonna be high-fiving myself all day.
it actually has an invigorating effect, I'm finding. That's what's so
Okay.
interesting about it. That's why I'm
Okay.
mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding now it's actually taking me a little bit to remember to
Mm-hmm.
congratulate myself.
Right. Right.
But not only is it invigorating, it's funny.
How so?
Because after about the third time, you start laughing at yourself like, oh, wow, I just did this 2 seconds ago.
Right. Right.
It becomes like a running joke, you
It
know?
was like, oh, we were just here.
Yeah,
It's like we
exactly.
lost at IKEA.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And after about a minute or two of that, what I'm finding, now I don't know if this is going to be true for everybody, but I
Mm-hmm.
kind of suspect it might be. What I'm finding is that it actually becomes easier to stay focused on the thing I want. Just because I've made light of it. Just because I've shaken it up in a way that is not critical of myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's not finger pointing or blaming or, finding fault, but is
Right.
simply making light of it and saying, "Oh, you did it again. Congratulations for noticing," and turning it into something that you eventually not doesn't take very long. You eventually start laughing at it.
I am starting to laugh, picturing myself doing it, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, ah, you
Oh, you
almost
did it.
got me
Did it
again.
again. Did it again.
Yeah.
It fits in beautifully with what Cindy Chavez in particular has liked
Hmm.
to point out, and that is when you bring yourself back on something like that, you want to do it as gently as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we are really tough on ourselves,
Because
most of
we can
us.
go easily from laughing to getting mad at ourselves.
Oh, very
Like,
fast.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thin line. Thin line.
Very thin line. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it becomes imperative to just keep it really, really light and
Yeah.
really, really gentle and non critical. No criticism at all. No
Hmm.
blame at all. No fault
Hmm.
finding at all. That's
Right.
not what it's about. That's why you congratulate yourself.
Right.
I mean, it's a sincere congratulation. It's not. It's not tongue in cheek. It's
Right.
sincere. Like you did it. Congratulations. It's really that kind of a thing,
Yeah.
I was doing it today on my daily walk, and beautiful day for a walk, by the way. Oh,
I know
gorgeous weather.
these last 2 days, man.
Oh,
Let's keep it
absolutely.
going. Mother
Yeah,
Nature. Good job.
absolutely. Oh, fabulous.
Oh, I'm
So
dropping 10.
that was actually making it easier for me to stay focused, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I was still practicing this. I was
Hmm.
practicing this idea of every time I find myself, sliding off the topic a little bit. Up, do it again. Congratulations, you discovered it. You noticed it. Let's go back.
Yeah.
And after about, oh God, it wasn't very long. 5 minutes of it,
Hmm. Hmm.
6 minutes of it. I found, well, first of all, I've been experiencing this a lot. People smiling at me and saying hello, even though I
Hmm.
wasn't, deliberately putting on any attention to them. And I was
Yeah.
getting more of that today, but I also noticed my cheeks were hurting.
Nah.
I was
Because you're
smiling
laughing at yourself.
so
Yeah.
hard, my cheeks were hurting.
I love
And
that feeling.
it is a good feeling. I mean, it's
Hmm.
actually a little bit painful, but,
But it's a good pain.
oh, absolutely it is.
Yeah.
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 And I'm thinking to myself, wow, what a different mood this is from the
Hmm.
mood that I often experience when I find myself slipping off point.
Yeah.
What a completely different feeling.
Hmm.
And I think that's why I was able to stay on point. And I stayed pretty well on point after that. I had to pull myself off a few times,
Yeah.
back onto the point, but not nearly as much.
Hmm.
Well, I think I've kind of stumbled onto something here.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's a very cool thing. And so where the topic of consistency comes into it, if I can consistently praise myself for
Hmm.
having noticed that I slipped off point, I end up growing at a phenomenally faster rate than when I don't do that.
Hmm. All right.
So there's a value of consistency right there that's a really cool one.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. Okay.
So thank you. Yeah, I like it too.
Let's see what I can do.
Jeffrey says he loves pivoting too. I agree. Yeah, pivoting is good. Pivoting is a skill that takes some time to learn, but when you learn it and you start
Yeah.
doing it right, do you do much pivoting? Have you tried it much?
If I do, I don't notice it. It's like
Mm,
it's autopilot for me.
yeah, it's actually better when you're doing it deliberately and consciously,
Yeah.
because I mean you do kind of go through the learning curve, like oh well, I'm not really pivoting. How do I do that? All the doubts and so forth. But once you kind of break through and learn to do it consciously a few times, it starts to almost become addictive.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, because it just feels so, oh wow, I did it again. It's that
Britney
kind of,
Spears.
yeah, yeah, it truly is.
Jeffrey said, Fatboy Slim had a song about praising you like I should. Yes, he did.
So see, though,
Well, they
there's
did, actually.
supporting evidence right there.
Hmm.
So very cool. I like that.
Now it's stuck in my head. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Yeah, but if you're gonna have something stuck in your head, why not have something good, right? Yeah, she's rocking out. There you go. So
Oh,
okay. Well, let's see. We're about halfway through. Let's take a break, do a little promo, and then we'll pick up again with the next phase of the discussion here.
phase
Um,
two.
phase two. We haven't done a break in mid-show in a while, so I
No, we
figured
haven't. No.
we got to break things up a little bit, right? So, yeah, this is for all of you who are not yet subscribers. By the way, numbers. I mean, Jenny made a comment about how it was either Jenny or Jeffrey made a comment about how
It was Jenny. Yeah.
we got a spike in numbers because of the trolls. Let me tell you, it's more than just the trolls. I was reporting just in the last week or so that we were averaging about 350
Hmm.
per episode.
Yeah.
Just today, we're up to 375.
Ooh, that was quick.
Yeah,
Okay.
really quick. So the numbers are increasing, and I don't remember what Apple usually gives me a good readout of how many of them are subscribers. They give you a good percentage because they actually track
Oh,
who the
okay. All right.
subscribers versus the full listens. And
Yeah.
typically we've been around 80% lately. I haven't checked it lately. I'll have to check it
Hmm.
again. But that means that most likely most of these people who are new are also subscribing, which is wonderful because
Well,
that
we
means they're going to keep
appreciate
coming
that.
back.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And indeed, the overall listenership numbers are up too in terms of number of shows listened to. So
Hmm.
it's really good. In fact, I think we're going to be hitting a record pretty soon. But
Oh, snap.
yeah, how about that? But for those who are in the other 20%, they're the ones that the promo is for. We want them to also become subscribers, and it's so easy to do. So that's why we kind of give you a little walkthrough. How do you become a subscriber? First of all, if you're using a podcast software of some kind, whether it be, I don't know, Spotify or iTunes or Google Podcast or whatever, chances are we're already on there. We're on the big
Yep.
ones for sure. So you can find us that way. But if you can't find us for whatever reason by doing a search in your favorite podcast app, just go to our website, loatoday.net, and at the top of the page, you'll find instructions on how to become a subscriber. It's about 3 or 4 clicks. And then after that, make sure you share, let people know that you become a subscriber. That's how more and more people find out about it.
Hmm.
And then, become a Jenny and a Jeffrey and join us on the live stream.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Always.
Tell them how to do it.
I'll tell you how to do it. Okay, so you go to YouTube and you search LOA Today podcast videos. And once you see our smiling faces, down below there is a red subscribe button. Hit that, and next to the red subscribe button, you're going to want to hit the silver bell and make sure you click all so you will always be notified when we're live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay, so there it is. Promo's done, out of the way. We're happy campers, back to the topic. Um, just before we started the show today,
Hmm.
I usually like to give a glance to Facebook because it gives me good fodder for using during the show, and
Facts.
it didn't fail me today.
Oh,
It gave
what
me
do we
some
got?
more. This I don't remember the exact post, but the young woman who posted had this issue, and I gave her advice kind of along the lines of what we're talking about here.
Hmm.
And her response was, "Well, how do I make the change?" And I described to her how to change a habit, by
Uh-huh.
basically focusing on new stuff. And her
Did you tell
response
her it
was,
takes 14 days?
"I did not."
It
No.
does.
Okay, well, it can. It can take a day, or it can take 3 years. It's really up to you. It's depending on how much
I
resistance you.
heard majority of the time, if you're trying to break a habit, usually a bad one, it takes 14 consistent days of making the effort to break that habit.
Okay, well, then good for that person. I know, for instance, when I was trying to break the habit of having all these voices go on in my head that I didn't want to have go on, it took a full 30 days. So there's an example of where it wasn't 14. But hey,
Mm.
it doesn't really matter what the number is. What matters is, can you make the change? And the answer
Yeah,
is,
that's true.
yeah,
That's
you
true.
can. You can make the
Doesn't
change.
matter how you get there, as long as you
Doesn't
get
matter
there.
how you get there. But anyway, I posted, some of these ideas for her, and she
Hmm.
wrote back and said, "Well, thank you for all the great advice. I'll try." And when I read those words, I had this little sinking feeling like, that sounds like the try that people often give to stuff. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'll try it once
just
or
to
twice.
set you up.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'll try it once or twice, and if it doesn't work, that'll prove that LOA doesn't work.
Right, right.
That's what that sounded like to me.
That's what it felt like to you.
So this is where, once again, the word consistency comes in,
Yeah.
because that's really not consistently trying the new thought process.
Well, you don't know though, because I'll try could be how she just answers things. Like,
It could be. Yep.
You can't convey emotion over text. That's my main pet peeve.
Try as we might. No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. It's not a good conveyor.
Not always, not always. And
Even
you
with
can
emoticons.
assume, yeah, but no, it doesn't always.
No. So
But
you're right.
also,
I mean, she may be somebody who's just saying, "Yeah, I'll try it," and it means that kind of excited, like, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
yeah, we're gonna
yeah.
go." So
Well,
I'll hope that's the case.
well, did she use an exclam?
No.
Oh, wow. Then I'm kind of on your side. If you're not using an emoji or an exclam, I can't really fight for you.
Yeah. So again, you can see why I drew the
Yeah,
conclusion.
I'm
I did.
going back to she just tried to shut you up.
Well, it could be. It could
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
But I think what it
Like,
really
stop
says.
making good points and go away.
Yeah, I came here to bitch and complain. I don't actually want a solution to my problem.
Right. It's like, listen, people do it all the time. Like, my friend will tell me, and I'll try to explain to them, okay, this is what you need to do. This is where we need to go from here. And she's like, listen, Alex, I just called because I wanted to be mad. Like, I'm like, well, that's not who you come to, because I give you advice on how to fix it. I'm not going to sit here and be mad with you. I don't have time.
It's like Nance calling Lexi and saying, I just want to call and be mad. Lexi, there's no way she'd put up with that one.
No, not at all.
For people who are wondering, who are Nance and Lexi? We're talking about two of our lead characters in our podcast fictional series, The Grass is Greener. Episode 2 coming out forthwith very, very soon. We've got it actually put together. I just got run by you and PJ. And once I get it run by you guys and you guys are okay, I got to make one little tweak to it too. But
Okay.
yeah, but then when you guys say, okay, everything sounds good, or no, go ahead and change this part, when we get that all ironed out, we're releasing it. It's coming out real quick.
Guarantee it'll sound good to me, and then PJ will be like, hold on. I'll be like, we almost had it.
I like to think of it as perfecting it.
Yeah, but what was I going to say? How was I going to word this?
You don't have to be gentle, believe me.
If you're always striving for perfection, will you ever get there?
You never actually get to perfection.
Exactly.
No.
And then that's how some people's project never get put out, because
maybe I should say bettering it.
But to what end?
To the end where it feels better.
Well, it's always going to feel better. Like, it's just based on what we've already done.
Well, not necessarily.
Feels better than episode 1.
Well, that's true, but this is I think to the point you're making, that if you keep going with better and better and better, it actually gets to the point where it doesn't feel better anymore.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. As long as it's continuing to feel better, great. But if it gets to the point where it's not feeling better anymore, that's where you're in obsession land.
Perfection is an exception. What did you just say?
Obsession land.
Obsession. Thank you.
Yes,
I was like, I have inception stuck on the brain.
That's okay. We won't hold it against you. No problem.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. Boy, wow. Jeffrey's going nuts with the emoticons. Absolutely nuts.
Ooh,
celebration and dance. Yeah. All right. Whew. Breaking a habit is equal to getting out of a comfort zone. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I think we've all felt like that before. I like to say I will look for the evidence of that. Do you really?
I mean, he wouldn't type it if he did mean it.
Well, the reason I say that,
we're talking about it.
This is true, yes. But the reason I say that is that, to me, well, that it can work either way, but that often can lead to what I call keeping score.
Yeah.
And when you keep score, what you really tend to do is focus on the lack of the thing you're trying to draw into your life.
Right.
Well, why hasn't the score changed?
Why?
I keep looking for the evidence. The evidence isn't showing up. Why isn't the evidence showing up?
Right. Jeffrey said, instead of "I will try." Oh, I got that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's certainly an improvement on "I will try." I agree with that. Yeah. I think ultimately, though, the best place to get to is the Yoda stance.
Come again?
Do or do not. There is no.
Oh, okay. And I thought you said the Yoda dance. I was like, what?
No, the Yoda stance. Master Yoda from Star Wars.
You gotta enunciate that one.
Sorry, my consonants and vowels are kind of sliding together today. That happens. I slur words at times.
Okay.
Fortunately, our listeners are kind enough to let me,
I'll allow it.
And that way, I am definitely not a perfectionist. So,
there you go.
But yeah, the Yoda stance is essentially one that says, just do it.
Yeah,
Don't worry about the result.
that's also the Nike stance.
Yeah, it is.
Hmm.
Yes, that's their positioning statement for their advertising campaign, and it's a good one. Don't mess around with the in between stuff. Don't mess around with the I'm not so sure stuff. Don't mess around with all that. Just go for doing it.
Hmm.
And results be damned. Don't worry about the results. If you stop worrying about the results and just do it and enjoy it, the results are going to show up. You won't even have to keep score anymore.
Hmm. Hmm.
You'll wake up one day and you'll say, "Oh, wow, where did that come from?" It'll just kind of appear like, "Oh my goodness." That's what happened with the legacy that our mom left to PJ and my brother Mark and I.
Hmm.
I don't think any of us really expected. And PJ, I think, had more of an expectation of it. She was aware that particular fund existed. I wasn't aware of it, and I don't think Mark was either. So
Yeah.
for us, it was like, oh my goodness, where did
Right.
the money come from?
Right. Hello.
Yeah, it was unexpected. And I can tell you, the day before that happened, and even the week before, I had no expectation of anything coming. I wasn't
Right.
keeping score. I wasn't
Hmm.
looking for it. I
Hmm.
wasn't trying. I was just having fun doing a podcast and working
Yep.
with the gardening business
Just
and doing
going about your day.
just doing my everyday stuff. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't really look for evidence. Evidence shows up. When it shows
Yeah.
up, it's good to notice evidence.
Yes, you have to notice the evidence.
Noticing, I'll buy that.
Hmm.
Noticing is important, but you don't have to look for it.
No, no.
That's actually too much work.
Right. Right.
So no disrespect intended, Jeffrey. It's just I just don't go quite that far. Just the evidence is going to show up. Okay, I'll see it. Now it is true. You have to notice it. That is important
Yeah.
because if you don't notice it, that's almost as bad
Right.
as keeping score and it not showing up.
Because then you're saying this isn't working, and it's like, but look
That's right.
at all the evidence around you.
Which is something I have done in the past,
Hmm.
and I'm learning now not to. Like I'm
We've
learning
all
to
dropped the ball.
pay
We've
attention.
all
Like, oh
dropped the
wow, something showed
ball.
up. Oh wow, something showed up. Oh wow,
Right.
something else showed up. Yeah, it's like the little mantra, the affirmation that came out of the Neville Goddard book that Sidney Chavez and I were talking about in
Hmm.
yesterday's show. The particular affirmation says, "Isn't it wonderful? Something marvelous is happening for me now,"
Right.
and it is a great affirmation. I think in part because it doesn't keep score. It
Mm-mm.
just marvels at stuff that shows up
Yeah.
and basically puts out the idea that I am ready to marvel at stuff that shows up. And as soon as I start being ready to marvel at stuff shows up.
Hmm.
How cool is that?
That's that's the way it works, man.
It's fabulous.
Hmm.
It's absolutely fabulous. So I get the feeling that we've been kind of playing little word games here, and maybe the word games have gotten a little bit confusing. So I need to ask you, how clear do you think we are about what we're saying here?
I think we're pretty clear.
Do
I
you?
think Jeffrey would tell us if we weren't.
Well, that's true. I mean, we can always count on that. Pick up TNR, trap, neuter, return cats from the clinic before 5. Oh, I see. That's a
Oh, Jenny's excusing herself.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, right, got it. Okay. And Jeffrey says we're humans. Sometimes we like to analyze and dissect and decide if we agree or disagree with hypotheses. No kidding. Yeah.
Big facts. Big
Yeah.
facts.
Absolutely true. Well, I think he just described life.
Yeah, he did.
Pretty much.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Yeah. Yeah, that's I don't think we even do it consciously all the time, but that's how we navigate our day. We when we're driving to work, we're analyzing, dissecting the traffic pattern. Where am I going to
Yep.
go? Well, it's just what we do as
Hmm.
human
Hmm.
beings. It's not like we have to develop the skill of it. It's already there.
Right. Right.
So, okay. Well, we've covered a lot of different aspects. I'm going to kind of flip it over to you. Where do we go with it next? Because it was your topic in the first place.
No, it wasn't. It was yours.
Well, you're the one who brought it in. Let's put it that way.
All right. Fine.
You're right. I took ownership by saying, yes, let's do that one on Thursday.
Yeah, you did. Jeffrey said we're communicating and we're clear to people who are ready to hear what we're saying. Ooh, touche.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It's true.
Good
You
point,
have to be
Jeffrey.
ready. If you're not
Yeah,
ready to hear it,
you don't
well,
want it. You're not going to hear it.
If you're not ready to hear it, you're not listening to the podcast. I can tell you that.
Mm.
Right?
You got to press the button in order to be able to ready to hear it.
And you got to be willing to press the button.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
And you got to be willing to have a little fun and feel good and feel happy.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want that, you're not going to push that button under any circumstance. It's not going to happen.
Nope.
And I've known people like that. I felt sorry for them.
Aw.
But I've known people like that. Yeah, I knew one guy. Oh, boy. I didn't know him for real long, but which is typical, right? I mean,
we don't keep people like that in our lives.
Well, yeah, they just tend to go away because they aren't matching your vibration.
Right.
But I knew him for, I actually tried to help him too. I knew him for about, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that. And literally, this poor guy couldn't find anything that he liked in life.
Why are you still here, sir?
I wondered the same thing, actually.
Nothing? Nothing? Not even cheese?
It was a real struggle. I mean, I remember one time just kind of, we were having a conversation. I was just pinning him down. Like, come on, tell me something that you like. And he couldn't think of anything. He said, okay, tell me something you used to like.
Yeah.
Because there was some place in time, while he wouldn't be alive if he didn't have something that he liked somewhere.
Right.
And he was able to come up with a few things that he used to like. He used to like skiing, I remember. And he used to like swimming. But he didn't like them anymore.
Okay, that's fair.
But he couldn't think of anything that he liked.
Not even cheese.
Apparently not, because cheese didn't come up as a topic. So. Yeah.
Well, that's just disrespectful to cheese.
Cheese lovers of the world, unite!
As I wear my yellow shirt.
I have to agree with you. Actually, I had cheese and apple before the show, so I'm
Ooh, good combo. Yeah, one of my friends told me about melting, what is it, sharp cheddar on apple pie.
Sure, yeah, that'll work. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try it.
I mean, I just use regular cheddar with I like McCown apples, and so that's my combination. And I'll cut up an apple, I'll cut up some cheese, and I'll just go through. It's great.
That sounds like a delicious, healthy snack.
It is. If you want to add some crunch to it, add a cracker, and it becomes really, really good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Living outside the box. Now we're getting fancy. A whole cracker.
But this poor guy, I mean, even cheese apparently was not on his list. He couldn't. Can you imagine being in such a depressed place that you can't even think of anything you like?
Yes.
Can you really?
Yes.
You've been there?
Been there.
What got you out of it?
Supernatural.
The television show.
The television show, yep.
Not a supernatural experience.
No. Not an experience. No. The actual television show. Yeah.
How did it do that?
I remember being so depressed that I was suicidal, and I remember saying to myself 2 things. One, and spoiler alert, but this is the 3rd season, so if you haven't seen it, that's your problem, not mine. If Dean can go to hell and come back, I can make it another week to find out what happens.
Okay. Are you saying that was like a point of interest, a point of joy, a point of...
it was a point of joy, and that I was like, all right, I made it through this week. Let's see what happens next week. So now it became a ritual to look forward to a new episode every week.
Oh, okay. Meaning both an episode of the show and an episode of your life, or just an episode of the show?
No, I was concentrating on the little things at that point. So it was the episode of the show.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as you have something small to look forward to. It's baby steps. That's where it starts.
That's true. Baby steps are very important. How long did it take you?
Probably a whole season. And some med changes, and then I just kept going from there. And then I got to the point where I was talking to my uncle, and he was like, how you feeling? And I said, listen, I got to the decision where I'm either going to suck it up and live or die. Those are my 2 options. So,
so really, the third option is there.
I'm working on the first one. That's what I decided to go with. So, yeah, making it the best life I can.
And I'm guessing that you found that to be a very satisfying choice.
It was definitive. Like, I felt it that moment that I said it. Like, I said it in the moment, not trying to be poignant or cool or anything, but like I said it and I was like, I didn't realize how deep that was right there. And then I was like, yeah. And it stays with me. Yeah.
Talk about what that depth meant for you.
That depth was like, okay, that conversation was a whole nother level. Like I really, not only am I feeling it because I said it, but I said it because I'm feeling it.
Mm-hmm. So the two kind of reinforced each other.
Yeah, exactly. And they've
Which
been
is
holding each other's back for the last 10, 12 years.
the nature of a belief, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you focus on a thought that you want to become a belief, and you do it with feeling, and you have the feeling reinforce the thought, and the thought
Yeah.
reinforces the feeling, that's what you're
Mm-hmm.
describing right there. The
Yep.
two just kind of keep building and building and building and building and building until they become certainty.
Yeah. Till it becomes part of your mantra. It's like, no, we're not dying today, so suck it up.
One of the things that Joel Elston, by the way, Joel, I contacted Joel today, and he's still trying to iron things out in his schedule. Lots of stuff has come up with the people he helps during this particular time frame when we do this recording on Thursdays. But
Mm-hmm.
he mentioned that he really missed the podcast, and he's going to see if he can
Oh,
once
we miss
again
him too.
try to shake up the schedule so he can rejoin
Yeah.
us on Thursdays for the Thursday afternoon podcast. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that Joel likes to talk about is the fact that when you go through something really, really rough, like you
Mm-hmm.
did with being so depressed you were suicidal,
Mm-hmm.
it makes you stronger, and it becomes a springboard of sorts
Yeah.
for all kinds of stuff to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You found that to be true also?
Yes, definitely.
Talk about that.
I just kept feeling like, this is why I say today that I'm so blessed and bad things don't happen to me. And it just keeps snowballing onto itself. And it's a great feeling to know that because you chose to live, that you're living this great life.
Does it keep getting better?
Of course.
There's no of course about it. It could, I mean, it really comes down to, do you continue to like it and like it and like it? If you do, then
I'm still here, so obviously. I sucked it up, Buttercup.
Well, you did more than suck it up.
Yeah.
You embraced it. You said, yes, this is what I want.
Yes, I did embrace it, but I had to start with sucking it up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is?
Because it rhymed. Just kidding.
Oh, okay. Well, that was deep.
No, I told you. I just came to the realization that there's only two ways out of this. So just got to pick door number one or door number two, and I chose door number one.
Okay. So if you were talking to my friend, or
Mm-hmm.
former friend actually, because I haven't seen him in 4 or 5 years, something like that.
I hope he's okay.
I hope so too, but I know he is okay. On one
Okay, all right.
You know,
Because I'm unsure. If you don't even like cheese, I don't know where you're going in life. I mean,
well, he may not be in life. I'm saying that
Oh.
his energy always is okay.
right,
He's fine.
right.
Is he okay in this physical life? I don't know the answer to that.
Fingers crossed.
Well, if he's not, it was what was right for him.
Yeah,
But
I
what I do know is, I'm curious to know what you would say to him if you were able to talk to him, because I clearly didn't get very far with him.
I would say exactly what I told my uncle, which is there's only two ways out of this. If you choose the latter, all you're doing is passing your pain on to the rest of your family and friends.
Yeah, that's the point.
Mm-hmm. So let's not do that. Let's work on what we have here and make it better for everyone around us and ourselves.
I wonder how he would have responded to that.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I do remember the last conversation I had with him.
Mm-hmm.
This was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
These were like coaching sessions. This is like my little entree into coaching, trying it out to see if I would like it.
Uh-huh.
The answer was no, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this was in the second to last session. He told me that his friend had offered him to go with him to, I think it was the Bahamas, somewhere in the Caribbean. I can't remember which island it was in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
For a week, free vacation basically. And they were going to do all these things that his friend had figured they could do together that would be fun, including some off-roading with trike type bikes and all that kind of stuff. And
Oh.
that sounds like a lot of fun. And he sort of gave me this, indeterminate, maybe, that kind of thing.
I kind of would have said the same thing, actually.
So I gave him a little homework. I said, here's what I want you to do. As you're doing each thing, I want you to make yourself extra excited about it as you're doing it. Take whatever feeling you got and just deliberately ramp it up a little bit. And then when you come back, tell me what happened.
Okay. And what happened? Oh, that was the last conversation, so you don't know.
That was the second to last conversation.
Oh, okay, okay.
The last conversation is where he came back from the trip,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me about the trip, and this is what was really interesting about it. He told me in detail what he did,
Uh-huh.
but he could not tell me in detail how he felt about it.
Then he didn't do his homework correctly.
No, he didn't.
He gets an F. Try again.
But isn't that an interesting thing? I mean, he really was hanging on for dear life to the idea of being depressed.
But I feel like he must have liked it if he can remember because the things you don't like, you block out. So he
On
must have
some
liked
level.
it if he didn't, if he remembered every detail.
Mm-hmm. But there was
Some
also that
people
high level of
just,
resistance. There was a huge amount of resistance going on.
some people just like their role as the negative Nancy in the group
Yeah, it's a
and
victim
don't know
role.
who they would be without it. So that's where they plan to stay.
That's an interesting point. That
Hmm.
what you're talking about is turning it into your identity.
Yeah, yeah. And once you do something so long, that's what it becomes.
Yeah. That now all this is pointing for me to what Neville Goddard talks about, because
Hmm.
Goddard is very big on going within.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that was something else I was trying to get him to do, and he had a lot of resistance to going within.
Hmm.
He could never give me an internal read on anything.
Hmm.
And it became pretty evident to me after just a couple sessions that it was intentional.
Hmm. Hmm.
It would. I mean, I could see where a therapist would have interpreted it as, oh, well, he's got this big deep block that's in there that we have to root out.
Mm.
But it was pretty clear to me he wanted that block there.
Hmm.
This
Yeah.
was not. It was not there by accident. This was not
No.
something that was programmed into him when he was a kid.
Right. Right.
He had picked this one
Yeah.
deliberately.
Hmm.
I didn't know why, but he had picked it, and he wasn't going to give it up for anything.
Well, he wanted to be Eeyore. He just wanted to
So
walk around with his tail hanging off of his ass, and no pun intended, because Eeyore is a donkey. But um, yeah, he just wanted to be the sad sack.
mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
where
and he was.
that's where he was getting his attention from you for, and that's probably how he pulls it from other people. So
And
without that, who is he?
and it's reminding me about the first conversation. Because
Mm-hmm.
my first conversation with him was basically to ask him one question: why are you here to talk to me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And his answer was, because I want to get better.
Mm.
So after going through the experience of trying to help him and realizing he didn't want to get better, I have to ask myself, well, then why did he tell me that?
Because that's what you wanted to hear.
But why was he there in the first place? He didn't have to
So,
come even see
we
me.
don't know. We don't know.
See, I don't think he was there for himself.
Probably not.
I think he was there to satisfy somebody else,
Mm-hmm. That's usually how it is.
and not realizing that you can't satisfy anybody else, and even if you do, it's not going to do anything for you anyway.
No, it's not. You got to
No,
satisfy yourself first.
that's right. Yeah. Well, I learned some things anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I hoped
There
he
you go.
did. I don't know what he got.
That's.
I hope he got something good out of it.
I hope so too. Well, he got to go to the Bahamas.
That's right. And he had what anybody else would describe as a really good time. I mean, the activities he described were
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I mean, if he had any kind of smile on his face, I would have said, "Yeah, you had a great time."
Yeah. Right. And he kind of smiled.
He just didn't. He had no smile at all.
Yeah.
It's so strange to hear somebody describing a really high energy activity like dirt biking in a monotone.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we went dirt biking and that was
Yeah,
great. And
exactly.
then we went cliff diving and I guess I had fun.
Right. Right. That's what it was like. You just did it
Mm-hmm.
beautifully. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
Oh, well, wherever you are out there, Guy, I hope you found a way to reach closer to what it is you really want. Because I know that he didn't really want to stay there on one level. On another level, it sounds like he probably did. But on one level, I know he didn't really want to stay there. So I hope he found it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I think we did a pretty good job with consistency.
We did.
We
We
covered
did.
areas of it I didn't think we were going to cover, to be honest.
Oh, there's always something new when I'm here.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason we do these conversations, because
Mm-hmm.
you never know where they're going to go. So,
Yep.
so next Tuesday is going to be our last one as the two of us doing it. The following Tuesday, we're going to have Dan Mangina joining us to do it as the three of us, which is going to be
Mm-hmm.
fun. So that's something to look forward to. But in the meantime, we got Tuesday coming up. Oh, and we are going to be doing the release of The Grass is Greener episode 2.
Woo woo.
You could be looking for that in your email. I'll be sending you a link so you can go listen to it as the
Okay,
previewer,
cool.
right?
All right.
And then because we don't want to spoil it for anybody.
No, we don't.
I'm not sure exactly when we'll release it. Maybe we release it Tuesday so we can announce it as part of the show that you and I do together.
All right, cool. I like that idea.
It gives us a deadline too. That way you have to get it approved and PJ has to approve it and everything.
Yep.
So good stuff. All right. Any spoilers that you need to tell us about before we go?
I haven't watched anything this week. I've been so busy.
Good for you. I mean, oh really? I'm surprised.
I mean, I've watched things, but I would like me and Kenny last night. We had a date day, so we did a puzzle together.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Like a crossword puzzle or jigsaw?
No, like
puzzle,
a jigsaw puzzle.
Jigsaw puzzle? Oh, yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that took up most of our day, and then we were listening to music as we were doing it. But also, I've been helping him watch Supernatural, so I haven't had time to watch my stories because I'm rewatching. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's it like the second time around watching it with somebody else's viewpoint?
Really? You think it's my second time around?
Well, okay. An alternative time around. How about that?
All right. Okay. It's always great watching it with a new person and seeing their seeing things through their eyes and watching them get excited. And probably it was like the second episode. He was like, "This is such a good show." And I was like, I don't give out bad shows. I just don't.
Well, actually, you know what that tells me is it tells me you have compatibility going on.
That too.
Because you like the same stuff.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's
we
helpful.
do.
That helps build relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have everything where you like everything the same, but if you can have a lot of things the same, stuff in common, and that helps.
Yeah, exactly. There's no fighting over the remote here. So
cool. That's good. Good stuff. All right. Well, then, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you next Tuesday. Thank you, Jeffrey and Jenny. We appreciate your live stream inputs. And thank you to our podcast listeners as well. We will see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.